Hi, I'm Chrissy. Welcome back to my channel. Today's special guest is Jenna, who works as a physio for the NHS. Enjoy! So, hi Jenna, thanks for coming on and talking to me. So, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Okay, my name's Jenna. I am a mum of two. I have a little girl who's just coming up for 1 next month, and I have a 6-year-old boy. I am an NHS physiotherapist. I work over in Liverpool with their upper limb team, so I'm quite a specialist physio. I only work with shoulders and elbows.
Wow.
But when we first train and we first qualify, we rotate around all the different areas. So we all have the same core basic skills, and we just specialise as we move along.
Wow.
I actually live in a little town in Derbyshire, just east of Manchester.
Okay.
And I'm very lucky that I love my job enough that the commute is tolerable.
Yeah, that's not your like traditional commute time. So yeah, very
No,
committed.
it's a nice 100-mile round trip. I actually take the train.
Okay.
Which is nice. So have lots of downtime, which, as I'm sure you appreciate when you've got two little ones, just a
Definitely.
bit of headspace is quite nice.
Yeah, I actually enjoy train journeys way more now that I've got kids. It's like so nice.
Yeah. Coffee while it's hot. You can read a book or do some work or whatever.
Exactly. But yeah, so I wanted to chat to you today because obviously you work for the NHS and current hot topic is obviously Corona and everything, and we're all on lockdown. And you were saying that you're actually quarantined right now and you've got both your kids at home. So do you want to tell me, how did you get quarantined? Like, what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's a bit of a tricky one. I do feel a bit of a fraud. It's the baby's fault. She spiked a fever and it was above 38. It did come down with Calpol, but as soon as that wore off, it was back over 38. And she also has a cough. And I don't think she has coronavirus. She started at a new nursery 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it is just the standard baby building its immune system, but we've got to follow the rules. And I've been quite preachy with most of my family and friends about staying home.
Yeah.
Practice what I preach. And I don't know. She hasn't been tested. I have no way of knowing for certain. So we are all quarantined for the 14 days, which is what the government are recommending at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And then is it back to work for you after that?
It will be back to work for me. So we have another week left of quarantine, and then I will be back in for I actually only do 3 days a week. So 2 days I'll be at home with the children, and for the other 4, the other 3 I'll be at work.
Okay. Well, it's with a little one, that's probably enough to be working just those days. So, yeah. But so the NHS obviously being really strict and we're all like on lockdown anyway, but how do you feel about having to go back into work then after those 14 days? Like, does it sort of scare you a little bit?
It doesn't. I think that's just because of who I am. I actually feel a bit guilty at the moment that I'm not there with all of my colleagues getting stuck in and helping. So the week before I was quarantined, we spent quite a bit of time in limbo, which I didn't like at all. And then as soon as we were told the department was closing, we were all to be redeployed, we had a full week of cancelling every single outpatient appointment that we had. And the team have continued to do that for another week. We're still not sure where we're being redeployed, but obviously everyone's been really busy getting ready, going through training sessions, because most of us within my team don't work on the wards. We work in an outpatient clinic setting. So patients come into us with a specific injury. We're likely to end up on the wards.
Oh, wow. So actually helping with this crazy scenario.
So we probably won't be with the patients who have coronavirus and are being treated for that. Because our skill set doesn't lie with sort of respiratory breathing type problems. But all of the inpatients do have those skills, so that the inpatient team will be working with the poorliest people, and we'll be mostly, I think, discharge planning, getting everybody else back home and out of hospital as quickly as we can.
Wow.
Maybe even just working to help the nursing staff.
Yeah, gosh.
With whatever they need to do. Some of us might end up in A&E.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you probably had to do that a while ago then in your training, but not.
Yeah, it's a while since we've actually done the core of those jobs. So they're spending quite a bit of time training us and upskilling us, so that we're not completely out of the loop.
Gosh, well, I mean, that's absolutely amazing that you're going to do that. And I think it's so honourable that you're like feeling guilty that you're not out there just right now. But obviously they've like redeployed loads of other people as well that were retired. Was it like 7,000 retired nurses and midwives and stuff? It's just absolutely crazy. And how did you feel like last night when they did this video is probably going to come out like in a week's time. So I'm talking about the clapping that happened yesterday at 8:00. How did you feel? Like, could you hear it where you were living?
Oh, absolutely. I was actually on the phone to my best friend at the time, and she's a GP who is currently working from home because she has a health condition which makes her a little bit more vulnerable. And we were on the phone together, and we both opened the windows, and I could hear it down the phone from where she lives, and I could hear it all around my little town. It was lovely.
Yeah,
it felt a bit emotional.
Yeah, you know what? I felt emotional because I was like, "What's that noise?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's 8:00," and we popped out the front door and we're looking, and we're like, oh, we'd hardly seen a soul in the last sort of week and a half since we've been stuck at home, and we could see all our neighbours, but we couldn't go up to them. We couldn't like chat to them or hug them or do anything. We've got this like WhatsApp group for the whole street, and we're all chatting on that, and yet we're there all clapping, and I could feel the emotion in the air, and I didn't know that I was going to react that way. So I couldn't begin to imagine how amazing it must feel if you actually work for the NHS and could hear that. So I'm so glad that people showed their appreciation because, obviously you're all doing an amazing job. So
it was lovely. It was such a lovely thing to be organised and to do and to just be a part of.
Yeah. So,
although I felt guilty again because I'm at the moment.
Us parents have enough mum guilt. You don't need the additional guilt.
No. I'm forever telling my friends to let go of the guilt.
Yeah.
I just need to take my own advice.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, yeah, the parent guilt is a huge thing, and that's one of the things I want to try and like help people get rid of, because I think we have enough stuff to worry about, especially now. I mean, now it's just even more heightened. Like there's so many extra things to have to worry about, being stuck at home with the kids, having to like become child carers and teachers overnight.
Absolutely.
It's just, but how are you juggling that? Like obviously because yours are a bit of an age gap, so interested in different things. And
very much so. I mean, my 6-year-old's great. He's of an age where he absolutely understands when the baby needs the attention. He's actually better when the baby's getting the attention than if I'm trying to take a phone call. He doesn't like that at all. Yeah, absolutely. But he needs some structure.
Yeah.
We found the same in the school holidays. He can't just have a free-for-all, and actually we can spend a full week outdoors. My mum lives over in Spain, and we usually visit her, especially in the summer holidays, and he can burn off lots of physical energy, but he has to have his brain challenged. Otherwise, his behaviour deteriorates a little, shall we say. So I've created a loose structure of the things we're going to do at certain times in the day.
Is that what you've got in the background up there on the wall?
Yeah, that's brilliant. And you know, he loves coming to check it, and he'll say, "Mummy, it's creative time now."
Oh,
so I've got academic time, creative time, quiet time, electronics, and what's the other one? Oh, exercise time. But within those groups, he can choose what he does.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love that.
He would do maths all day if he could.
That's fantastic.
He loves doing maths. And then just activity. So I'll encourage him to do other things, and we'll bake, or he can play with Lego or do some puzzles or whatever, but just so he's got a loose bit of structure, and so he knows he likes to know what's expected of him.
Yeah.
I think he puts a lot of pressure on himself, and if he doesn't know what's expected of him, he will almost lose his rag because he's not doing the things to the best of his ability. A bit like me.
Oh wow, you've got a little genius on your hands. That's amazing.
His brain, it just doesn't stop.
Oh, that's so good. Well, my two is they've just got so much energy. So for me, it's all about expending the energy and trying to get outside as much as possible, which is obviously a bit of a problem right now. But
really hard.
We managed to get to the beach earlier and just like sort of not the main stretch of beach in Brighton where I live, but down in Shoreham, sort of a bit more sort of away from other people. So there was like hardly anyone there, few people riding their bikes, but we managed to get some fresh air today and then had a bit of a game of cricket out the back this afternoon. But when I say cricket, we've got like a 4-meter stretch of patio where we can like do a bit of cricket. It's not
a bat and a ball and just do your best.
Yeah, exactly. We did have to wait for one of the neighbours to use his dustpan to throw the ball back over the fence. Like, I don't want to touch it with my hands. I'm like, no, you're right. I'm like, this all feels so hideous, this whole thing.
It's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so hard. But yeah, I mean, we have to do what we can do. And I think, having the schedule, I think for us, we have a loose schedule, but it hasn't really worked too well for us so far. But I think because mine are a bit smaller maybe, but they're only 2 and 4. But yeah, I long for the day where they're wanting to do maths and stuff like that.
It does make a huge difference. And it's the baby that's more difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So she's crawling and she's pulling up, but she's not yet toddling.
Yeah.
So she's getting really cross at a lot of things because she wants to do things, she doesn't want to do things. Half the time she doesn't know what she wants.
Yeah, just frustrated.
She's just frustrated, very vocal about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we've got the tantrums at my end, but I'm very lucky that my two will start to play with each other a bit, and I'm trying to limit screen time as much as possible. Obviously it's not always possible. Like today I had a lot more work to do today, and I did start to get the mum guilt because they watched a bit too much TV. But yeah, at least when I switch the screens off, they do play with each other a bit, although they do also fight. So I don't know.
That's boys for you, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. 2 little boys. So one thing I really wanted to check was when you go back to work, well, you don't know if you'll be on the front line or slightly sideline or whatever. Are you going to have to sort of think about your family being cared for by your other half, or will you still be able to see them, or will you sort of have to stay apart from them for, how's that going to work?
So we are both classed as key workers.
Okay.
So my son has a place at school. He will go for the 3 days that I'm at work. My daughter was supposed to be going to nursery, but they've just had instruction from head office that they have to close. I think it's to do with the government allowing companies to claim 80% of staff salary, but that's only if staff are not working at the time.
Oh yes, I did hear about that, yeah.
Yeah, which I fully understand, I fully appreciate. I don't think our nursery has enough key worker children to make it financially sustainable. So I do fully appreciate that. We don't have any family that we can or want to use. Our usual babysitter is actually self-isolating for the full 3 months because she has a chronic health condition. Grandparents miles away. My mum's over in Spain, on full lockdown. So my husband, as a key worker, is working from home. He spends his whole day on Zoom and Skype and all kinds of conference calls. And he's just going to have to cope with the baby.
Oh, bless him. Oh, that's so hard.
Which is hard, especially because she's usually such a sunny, happy, lovely baby.
Yeah.
And at the moment, she's clingy and whingy, and it's exhausting when you've got attention to give to her, whereas when you've got split attention, it's going to be tricky for him.
Yeah, no, that is really hard. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand. I've got friends that have a slightly similar situation, and they've just got to figure it out, and it's just a really tough situation for so many families right now. But obviously, like, priority goes to helping those that sick. Yeah.
It's not that anybody's job is more important than anybody else's. So his role is at the moment, his company are involved in providing some of the support to schools that are staying open for key worker children.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's sort of supporting the people that are supporting the key workers.
Yeah.
So there's this whole chain.
Yeah.
And most of his company have been furloughed, but they've kept the senior management team active.
Yeah.
And it is really hard because that I've said, can you not reschedule calls? But it's potentially a conference call with 16 other people.
Oh wow!
Which can't be rescheduled just for him, but we're just going to have to work around it. And people will have to be understanding because we're all in the same boat at the end of the day at the moment.
Yeah, massively. But it doesn't worry you having to come back home at the end of the day, maybe having been exposed to people that possibly had the virus?
So I'm not a worrier. I don't sit and think about every potential scenario that might happen. So because I don't know where I'm working yet, that's not entered my head.
Good. I'll try not to make you think about that again.
If I turn up to work in a week and I'm told, so what they've done in my hospital, they've basically split, they've mirrored A&E. And they have an A&E for anyone who, it doesn't matter what injury you've got or why you're presenting, you might be there with a broken foot, but if you've also got a high temperature and a cough, you're going to go to this A&E rather than the normal A&E.
Okay.
So they've almost got a possible COVID A&E and then a normal A&E.
Yeah.
And the idea is most of the usual A&E staff will be on the COVID side.
Yeah.
If I was to go to work and be told I would be on that side, then I'm sure the worries would come flooding in and I'd have all of these anxieties. But at the moment, while that's an unknown, I'm just not thinking about it.
No, that's fair enough. Well, what happened last week? Well, no, it was this week on Tuesday. My dad, he's a bit clumsy to say the least, but he's also got post-polio syndrome, so his legs are quite weak. He had a hip replacement last year. He fell in the little courtyard behind my house, behind their house, sorry, and broke his leg.
Oh no!
So he's now in hospital. He had surgery today, and he had to have his hip replaced, and also his upper leg needed some kind of repair thing. So he's in Hastings Hospital. And I think there's only 4 cases of COVID-19 in that hospital at the moment. But yeah, I was just curious about how it would work because supposedly A&E there was super quiet. So maybe they've got a similar setup in that, the A&E is like still that, and then the COVID one is separate. So that's interesting for me to know. But my mum wasn't even allowed to go into the hospital. So she's like, my dad in his slightly delirious state, having just fallen and being in like tremendous pain, was like, pack my phone charger, pack my iPad,
Bless him.
Get me all my stuff. And then she packed the wrong phone charger.
Oh no.
And she had to do some kind of handover for a phone charger at the hospital doors and the next day. But yeah, no, it's a really tricky time. It's very scary, and obviously, my fear is like he's over 70. He might get something while he's there. Yeah, so it's not nice, but yeah, I mean, you can't really worry about the things that you can't control or don't know about. So I'm just trying to not think about it. So I mean, what else can you do? Otherwise, you drive yourself mad.
I've got to say, considering we've almost seen this coming for a while, but we didn't have the official say-so, with regards to lockdown and redeploying staff in the hospitals. The hospital, particularly where I work, but I'm sure all the other trusts, have gone from 0 to 100 so quickly. It's amazing how staff have pulled together and what people have done. Just to get things where they need to be super quickly. I almost feel, especially in Liverpool, we've maybe been a little bit ahead of the game in that we're now ready to support the hospital and they haven't needed us yet.
Okay, that's good because there's been lots of
good.
Yeah, because on the news, all we hear is like, when are the ventilators going to be ready and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, they say the peak is going to be in 2 to 3 weeks' time. So by the time this video is out, it'll be like 1 to 2 weeks' time. And then it's
it
like,
might be a different kettle of fish. I'll be eating my words then, I'm sure.
Yeah, and just today they announced that Boris Johnson's got COVID-19, and
Matt Hancock.
Oh wow, okay.
As well.
Yeah, so I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen to
we. We don't.
No,
I've got to say that's one of the worries is how many non-symptomatic people are there working on the front line that haven't been tested.
Yeah. I mean, because
that's one of the current criticisms, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're saying like they're trying to ramp up the testing. I think they said like 6,500 or something yesterday. I don't know. It's just not enough, but we don't know. Like people just are not taking it seriously enough, and I think once it starts to peak, a lot more people are going to freak out, and then maybe they'll get the message. But what we're seeing in other countries is just absolutely horrifying and scary. And to be honest, I don't want that to happen here. And I'm hoping, like with social media and everything else, that people are starting to listen and stay at home.
I'd like to hope.
Yeah.
I've got to say, as I said, my mum lives over in Spain, and they have a very different police structure over there. So they have the local police, the national police, they're sort of big Guardia Civil, they're called, and the military, and all of them are out and about patrolling all the towns, even the little villages. My mum's on a hill in the mountains, and she's even had some of the military up there just making sure everyone is staying in their homes.
Wow.
So they really enforce things over there.
Yeah, is it in Spain as well, where they've got drones telling people to go back in their houses? Was that?
I think so.
Yeah, that's actually scary. Like that's like something out of the future. I know drones are not a new thing, but it's
having that level of being observed. It's a bit 1984, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm genuinely scared if they're going to stop me from leaving my house just to get some fresh air in an empty field or on an empty beach. Then I'm going to be properly miserable. But for now, I can just about cope with it. So, what are the kind of things that you think are good that have come out of this? So, for me, I think I've got less mum guilt because I've got to actually do stuff with the kids and make a plan and make an effort. Not like, oh, I've got to kill an hour. What am I going to do? I feel like a lot more with them and involved and everything. So how do you feel about, having both the kids at home, being at home with them?
I'm only a few weeks back at work after mat leave, so it just feels like an extension of mat leave, apart from having my husband floating around in the background.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely agree with what you're saying. And I think maybe some of the other social commitments that we have, catching up with friends that you haven't seen for weeks and months. And as lovely as that is, sometimes, you can have a period of a few months where you've barely had a weekend to just sit and enjoy your family because you've either been hosting or you've been traveling. And now you've got that guilt-free time to sit and do nothing.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to do anything else. And like you say, you can spend quality time with the kids. On the flip side of that, I am reading a lot of, social media posts telling everyone to sit down and enjoy this precious time with your children, and they're still going to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want people feeling guilty, thinking, "Oh, I've got all this precious time with my children." It's a bit like maternity leave, isn't it?
Yeah.
You feel like you've hit a brick wall and you just need change, and we are going to get to that. It's balance, isn't it? You're going to feel different things on different days.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when people keep talking about the positives and like seeing, spending time with the kids and all this kind of stuff, it's like, yes, it might be the one positive, but there's so many negatives. And I really struggle to kind of get the negatives out of my head, and with the financial implications of everything that's going on, and the kids' education and just the world we live in just crumbling at our feet. It is very hard. So I guess seeing the simple things, the the sun is shining today.
I was just about to say, I think the sunshine helps. This would be a completely different conversation if it was typical Manchester weather.
Yeah.
Grey, drizzle, misery.
Yeah, well, if this had happened, even 2 months ago?
It would have been a different story.
Torrential rain, flooding everywhere, can't get out, stuck in the house, absolutely miserable. I mean, one thing I do worry about is, I worried about this more when this first started, but was the mental health implications and like people being stuck inside and isolated and not having kind of any way of escaping. Like I kind of felt like there might be more cases of mental health than possibly even suicide as a result of this situation. And I guess we haven't really seen the extent of what might happen. But the weather helps, and yeah, I know it's a really horrible thing to have just talked about and then brushed it under the carpet. But again, it's something that we can't really know for sure, and because we don't know how long this is going to go on for. And
we need to stay connected, don't we? And like you say, use social media for the reason it was initially invented. Check up on your friends, keep asking. Someone might be okay for 5 days, and then all of a sudden that 6th day they're not. And we just need to keep asking and checking and looking after each other, I think.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And that's something that, I tell my clients as well, because some of them are stuck at home alone, or, some people think, like you said, they think they're all right, but then the next day you see them either post something on social media or they don't seem quite right in the message that they've sent you. And it's those moments where you really do need to make that extra effort and check in with them. Because some people are super sensitive, and or if it's an older person and you don't know if there's someone looking after them, and just like our street is keeping an eye on all the vulnerable people and checking in on them if they need anything from the shops, all that kind of stuff, and just leaving it and going and arranging PayPal payments for groceries and stuff. And I think that community aspect is just, it's grown and it's become so valuable. And I think when this is all over, because it will be over at some point, although in my head I seem to think it's going to go on for a year. I hope that we're all just much closer as a community, and as also just in general because of what we've gone through.
Yeah. We're all fighting a shared enemy, aren't we? And it's equal for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, what you do. We're all potentially as at risk, and it's a common enemy that we all need to, like you say, club together, build that community spirit to try and support each other to fight. Yeah,
exactly. So just to sort of wrap this up a little bit, I guess, so what kind of tips would you give in terms of, obviously you've got a few different angles to give here. You've got the NHS angle and having to juggle work and childcare, and you've also got the slightly bigger age gap with your kids. I mean, are there any key tips that have sort of helped you get this far through this sort of lockdown period?
Yeah, so for me, I need to have a plan. So I was the same with work. I felt much, much better when there was a plan. I hate being in limbo.
Yeah.
But then be flexible with your plan and appreciate that it may change. Don't be too rigid with it. And I know that's a bit of a contradiction in terms, but like I say, have a loose framework and then be able to be flexible within it. It's much, much easier said than done. Drop the guilt.
Yes, drop the guilt.
Find a friend, whether it's your partner, your husband, one of your friends, anyone, to just regularly tell you and remind you it's normal, it's fine to feel like that. Get rid of the guilt. We're all in this together. Don't try to homeschool, I would say. So what's been good for me is knowing what my son needs. So I'm not teaching him the maths curriculum. I'm not teaching him phonics. I'm not teaching him anything that they do at school. We actually haven't had anything from our school.
Yeah.
I'm letting we do have some age appropriate and level appropriate reading books. So I'm encouraging him to read every day. Like I say, he enjoys maths, so I will let him do maths every day. But I'm not trying to be his teacher, because that's not who I am. And that's just too much pressure on me as a mum. who also has to go out to work, who also has another child. And I think everyone's, really, really worried about the children missing this year of education. But kids are so adaptable; they will catch up. They'll make it up.
I love that.
They are. They're sponges. They'll quickly catch up. In my mind, I don't think he's going back to school this school year.
Yeah.
I've got September set in my head. Anything before that, it's a bonus, but I tend to err on the side of pessimism, if anything. And I'm never disappointed.
Yeah, well, that's a good way of looking at it. No, I absolutely love your attitude, because so many people, like parents, are putting pressure on themselves to become teachers overnight. And you're right, we're not teachers. We didn't choose that as a profession. And I feel like that's really unfair to suddenly try and force yourself into that role when you're not equipped to do it. And there are all these educational resources and YouTube channels and apps and all these things that you can use if you want to, if you feel comfortable. But if you don't, then do it your own way. And actually, sometimes just doing something different is as stimulating for them as doing the educational stuff, but just in a sort of roundabout way, or doing something more creative or learning something through play. And obviously it depends on the kids' ages, but no, I absolutely love that. And you know what? I think more mums need to actually just be like, you know what? Nope, I'm not a teacher. This is what we're doing today. We're baking today, or we're going to play some drums today, or we're going to play cricket.
You're going to learn how to operate the vacuum cleaner.
Yes, you know what? I taught my little one how to do that, and he's only 2.5, and he absolutely loves it. And he thinks it's hilarious that the vacuum cleaner's called Henry, because that's what my oldest one's called. It's like, what?
Oh, brilliant.
And then when I told the older one that I joke about this, but he thinks I'm being serious. I said, yeah, I called you Henry after the vacuum cleaner. He's like, what? No.
Oh, bless him.
No, but yeah, he's very easy to wind up because he's my child. So, but no, I think that's brilliant. I think that's absolutely perfect advice. And thank you so much for chatting to me. And it's so interesting to see your perspective from the NHS side as well, and also your struggles with managing childcare and stuff. Because I know everyone's got sort of different issues at the moment, so just seeing it from a key worker perspective is really interesting. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. It's been lovely to chat.
Yeah, and obviously I've seen you on my Facebook group and stuff, and hopefully you'll continue to chip in on there and provide me with other valuable insights as the time goes on. But yeah, so I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
It's such a lovely supportive group as well, so thank you for that.
Oh no, that's all right. Well, yeah, I feel like it's a really lovely bunch of women, and I'm trying to nurture it more now, because I know at times I've been a bit more absent, but now I've got no excuse because I'm stuck at home and I've just got to get it going, haven't I? So so thank you, and let's chat again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Chrissy.
All right.
Have a lovely weekend.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much to Jenna for joining me for a chat. This chat took place a week ago. In that time, I sadly lost my dad, and I decided to still release this video because of all the issues that it presents and all the learnings that have come out from it. So I'd like to dedicate this episode to my dad, and I'm obviously devastated that he's no longer with us, but I hope you can take some good insights from this video and apply it to your own lives. Good luck, and see you next time.